day, we are also doers of the word. So please, let's ensure that as we come in, keep your mic muted. Keep your mics muted. If your mic is unmuted right now, please mute it so that we can have a beautiful time together. This is also showing live on YouTube, so you can it's showing live on YouTube, so people are also joining from the YouTube angle as well. So before we go into today's speakers, before we introduce the speakers today, I would like us to hear from the founder herself of the Changemakers Group. Changemaker it was founded in the year 2019, and it's a group where teachers come together, educators come together to share ideas, to network, because we believe in community. We believe that the competition of the 21st century is actually collaboration, and that's what we do in the Changemakers group. So very shortly, Mrs. Shola Adiola, popularly known as Sojibra, right, will be coming up to talk briefly about what Changemakers Group is about. And it's something that I would advise, I would encourage, if you're not yet a part of us, to be a part of us. Over to you, Mrs. Shola Adeola.
Okay, I can't but say that. Thank you, Jesus. And you will not understand why I'm saying this. Like, I've been under pressure, the meeting link, I don't know what happened along the line. I had to reschedule. And while he was saying, at the point he was saying the YouTube is showing live, I was trying to start streaming on YouTube. The network is giving me pressure. Immediately he called my name, everything set. So I'm so happy that I'm back to normal. So good evening, everyone, and you're welcome to day 2 of the Changemakers webinar series. And I hope that you were as inspired and empowered as I was by last night's session. It was electrifying. It was really exciting from the very beginning to the end. The time was not even enough that we didn't even know that the time was that gone yesterday. Because as a result of, you see, part of the things that we learned yesterday, you turn off your microphones when you're not speaking, because you might have to do something, you don't want to disturb other people, and you don't want to be perceived as someone that is not a professional. Please, when you're not speaking, kindly mute your microphone. You want to speak, you can just raise your hands up. Then we'll give you the opportunity, because we really want to have a conversation. We don't want it to be a one-sided kind of a thing this evening. So yesterday, our speakers poured out their hearts, sharing powerful insight that can truly transform our approach as educators and professionals. That is, if we practice what they've said to us. If we are not just hearers of the word, we are doers of what we heard. The person that is still talking, someone is still not muted, and the person, I'm not sure the person even knows that he or she is causing this obstruction. Mr. Falabi, maybe you might want to look at that. So today, we have another round of amazing session speakers lined up. But before we begin, I want to remind you that the Changemakers community, like Mr. Falabi said, is more than just a series of events. It's not an event. This particular Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I don't know what happened. I just went off. I'm sorry about that. So I was
No
saying that
problem.
the Changemakers group is a group of educators that we all want to help ourselves to grow, and it's a platform for growth, like Mr. Falabi said, for growth, collaboration, and active participation. We don't want members that will just, educators we are fond of, there's a group, let us join. Then you join the group, you're just there. You're not saying anything, you're not active. We don't want those kind of people. We want people that believe that their voice is something and that they can also impact. They have something to share with others too. And then they are ready to learn, unlearn, and relearn, And it's so interesting to tell you this evening that we're also going to be planning a major masterclass in December. So usually we have in August and we have in December. And we are also going to be bringing expert speakers from various fields to meet our needs as educators. So it's going to be an empowering experience, and we want you to be part of it. In addition, we used to have a monthly webinar, so there'll be plenty of opportunities for us to connect, learn, and elevate our skills. And guess what? This isn't just about listening, it's about sharing too, like I said before. So if you have something valuable to contribute, I encourage you to seize this opportunity. We would love to hear your ideas and experience. So if you would like to present in any of these our monthly webinar, right? Please don't hesitate to reach out. If you're on the group, you can reach out to me. You can reach out to Mr. Folabi. You can reach out to Miss Ladis. You can reach out to any of these three people that I've mentioned, Then we can always, but before, of course, we ask you a question. We want to know what you would like to share with us. So during any of our monthly webinar, we can bring you on board so that you can also share with other people. We can also learn from you. So let's empower ourselves and each other, not just today, but throughout the year and years to come. Thank you for being here. Thank you. And let's make the most of this evening's section. Once again, welcome. So let's go straight into this impactful evening. Mr. Folabi, over to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shola, Ms. Shojibra. Yes, thank you for that that introduction of what Changemaker is doing and the great work we're doing. Thank you so much for putting this together. Thank you for obeying your call to do this, and we have been blessed being part of Changemakers. Yes, we are going straight into today's session, and I want you to get ready. If you are ready for today's session, just put in the chat box, I am ready. I am ready. Yeah, I read in the chat box somebody talking about yesterday being a mind-blowing session, a wonderful session, and I can bet you that today is going to be really, really better. Today is going to be greater than what you experienced yesterday. So I'm going to be bringing up the first speaker. The first speaker that will be speaking to us today is nobody else but Gift Godfrey, Mrs. Gift Godfrey. She is a multi-award winner, winning educator with over 18 years experience. And I can tell you, for someone that is a multi-award winning educator and talking today about work-life balance, I can tell you for a fact that you need to listen to her. How has she been able to yet thrive in our profession and be able to balance it with our life? So, ladies and gentlemen, for the next few minutes, I want us to take our pens, get our book, get our mind ready as I welcome and invite to speak Mrs. Gift Godfrey. Please, can we all mute our mics, please? Let's mute our mics. Thank you very much. So over to you, Miss Gifts. Over to you, Miss Gifts. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much. Thank you to Mrs. Shola for having me. It came impromptu, but we are here. I don't know if it's a culture here not to have our videos on. Should I turn it off or we're good? I just want to blend with the culture here. Please, I want to establish that you can hear me. Can you hear me very well?
Very clearly, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so it's a pleasure to be in your midst tonight. As always, it's always an exciting moment to be amongst the people I value the most. Yes, educators. We are wonderful people. Like I always say, we are edu heavyweights. All right, so tonight we're going to be considering a topic that is not always discussed amongst educators. You know, when you're going for webinars, seminars, conferences, we are so, I mean, we have buried our heads into professional matters, right? We're discussing pedagogy, we're discussing all of those things. Well, hardly will you come across, I mean, educators discussing work-life balance. Meanwhile, in other industries, you have them discussing this because it's very important and it's worth deliberating on. And tonight, we're going to be looking at work-life balance. What is it? I know it is a controversial topic all over the world amongst professionals in all sectors. Many of them are the arguments that it doesn't even exist, right? They say work-life balance does not exist. And so they say is not attainable. And a whole lot of controversies, arguments out there. But I would want to ask you and I, what do you think about work-life balance? Does it truly exist? And is it attainable? Is it possible that I will get to that point where I can balance work with life? And for those who are overthinkers, of course, they're critical thinkers. They're even saying that it's not balance. You cannot balance work and life. It's as if you are seeing them at variance. You're trying to separate work from life and all that. And it's okay, it should be work-life integration or work-life harmony, whatever the case is. I would rather you go with a working definition, something that works for you, and do magic, do miracles with that, all right? So tonight, I'm not coming as someone who say, okay, I have attained that height, or I have arrived perfection, or I am now an expert in work-life balance. The truth is that all over the world, I'm not sure there's an expert in work-life balance. It's a learning curve. Everyone is learning the curve, right? And but the truth is that many of us will have really made progress in that. So I'll be sharing simple tips, what has worked for me. And of course, you know, I'm a data scientist, right? I love to work with data. I have gathered actually information or data from other educators to know what works for them. So I think the tips we'll be sharing will work for you too. I believe so. All right. And tonight, I will not be going into research like I usually do. I did that on purpose. We'll just be talking simple things, simple tips, because I have come to discover that those very difficult or complex issues we face in life, they often come with simple solutions. Yes. So rather than dishing out rules, you know, we'll say 80-20 rule and all of those theories out there. Let's get practical. Let's talk about what really works. Okay, so let's talk about things that are applicable. And I can bet you that I'll not be taking more than 30 minutes of your time. And it's going to be, of course, engaging. I want to share my screen right now. Let me share the screen so that the session is interactive. Please confirm whether or not you can see the screen. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, we can see it now.
All right, thank you. Okay, so one says work-life balance integration is naturally, and I didn't get that. I will read it after now. Thank you for that. So here we are. Okay, Favor says, yes, we can. Yes, we can achieve. I love that. I love the yes attitude, that we can attitude, mindset. So work-life balance. Of course, you can see that picture doing justice to that topic, how one is turned between different, many things begging for your attention. And the truth is that that attention is actually limited. So let's start with bursting the myth. All right, let's burst some myth about work-life balance. Many people believe that work-life balance means equal time for work and life. And that's not true. That's not a fact. No. Work-life balance is not about trying to give equal time to your work as well as other aspects of life. No. You can achieve work-life harmony alone. That's not true. You cannot. practically impossible. During the introduction, we mentioned that collaboration is the new competition, right? And that's the truth. You cannot survive the 21st century landscape without collaboration. You can't do it alone. Professionals who are trying to do it alone, go and ask them what their results look like. All right. You need strict rules to achieve work-life balance. That is not true. And that's why tonight we're just looking at very simple tips, very, very simple. We're not even trying to deploy rules. Taking care of personal life means sacrificing career success. Absolutely lie. That's not true. When you take care of your personal life, and you're able to kind of strike that balance, you're trying to live a balanced life. Let me put it like that. The truth is that your career will not suffer. Your employer is responsible for giving you that harmony. That's a lie. Many people are living in denial. They are trying to blame shift. They're saying, oh, it's my employer, it's my boss this, my boss that. I cannot achieve work-life balance because of my boss. But that's not true. That's not true. We can say at least that's not, let's say half truth, but when it is half truth, of course, it's a lie. It's not a fact. You will attain perfection with time. That's actually a lie. Because when you think you've attained perfection, you just see yourself flopping and you're asking, what's going on? Why I thought I've gone beyond this level. What's going on? We're going to answer those questions tonight. And then finally, it looks the same for everyone. That's not true. What work-life balance looks like for B may not be the same for you. All right, that's why we're going to share different tips, and then you choose what works for you and run with it. But ensure that you are mapping out an action plan for yourself tonight. Okay, thank God it's the beginning of a new session, a new school year, where we will be putting things right. And we're starting on a very good note. We're setting the tone for a wonderful school year. So let's run. Let's go with this working definition. Like I said, you can come up with your own definition, but if you want to join me in this definition, you're welcome. Work-life harmony is smooth transitions. Notice that I used, that's plural. I added S on purpose. You are transitioning between work and life and other aspects of life, all right? So smooth transitions between work and other aspects of one's life. Now, it's okay to choose a definition, like I said, that helps you to truly win in all areas of your life. The problem with work-life balance is that many times we're trying to, like we said earlier, we bursted that myth. We're trying to give equal time. We're thinking, okay, if I spend 8 hours at work, then I should equally spend 8 hours on my personal life. And that's where we get it wrong. Okay, so it means that you just smoothly transition from time to time. Remember, it's a circle. It's not just an event. You're transitioning between life and work. And of course, when we talk about life, we're talking about other aspects of your life. Work is actually a part of your life. All right, it's not a separate entity. No. It's part of your life, but it's just that somehow we just extracted that part of your life because it takes the bigger chunk of your time, of your energy, of your attention. And many people are dying slowly and they're asking, I am dying. I'm only living to work. What else can I do? That's why we need to discuss this topic. Now look at all the aspects of one's life. Your life as an educator, you have your relationship, you have family. We won't talk about relationship, we're talking about maybe friendship and people who you relate with from time to time who also need your attention. Then your family, you have children, your husband, your relations, siblings and all that. Then you have health and wellness. Okay, so this is very important and many educators have neglected this part of their life and they're paying dearly for it. Yes, we have a scholar who slumped just a few weeks ago and he died. He passed away, and we don't want such to keep happening. All right. I know educators are juggling with a whole lot in their lives. So health is a very important part of your life and your wellness, of course. Then we have leisure. I may be giving a wrong data down. Let me just assume that 80% of educators don't pay attention to leisure. In fact, they don't have this on their agenda. Why? Why shouldn't you? Why are you so invested in living life? I mean, doing work, and maybe other aspects of your life, and you neglect leisure. This is very important part of your life, and you need to include that in your goals. All right, now we have spirituality. I don't know what this means for you, but for me, it means my faith. All right, it's a very important part of my life, and I pay attention to that. And then we'll have work, your career, and growth. Talking about growth, we're talking about your career advancement, like what you're doing today, taking on training and developing yourself. So these are all aspects of an educator's life that you need to pay attention to. Now, what works? Let's share some evidence-based tips. Like I told you, it's a very short session, but if you pay very keen attention, you're going to be picking one or two things that you will run with for life. Yes, for life. So what's work? I picked out these evidence-based tips for achieving work-life harmony. And what are they? The first is that you need to understand and define what is important to you. Please confirm that you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
All right,
Yes, we
thank
can.
you. Thank you so much. So you need to understand and define what is important to you. Yes, many people or many professionals, when you sit them down and then you're counseling them, you're asking them, what's important to you in this life? And they are saying, they're not even answering you, all right? And you're wondering, is it that they don't have a plan for their lives? Remember we talked about the aspects of your life. For some people, it is family, health, and work. For some people, it is family. In fact, some people, they don't even have this in their agenda. Family and relationship is out of it. They will tell you it is spirituality, health, and wellness, and then work. For some people, it is okay, work, leisure, family. So you need to define what is important to you in your life. What are those things you need to give you need to give attention to. Define them, understand that, okay, without this in my life, I will not be living a wholesome life. So that's the first tip. Define what's important to you. And next, we have fit work into life. Remember, we established that work is part of your life, right? Yes, it is not an entity, all right? It's not separate, it's not at variance with life, or is not working against life. It is part of your life. And if you want to, let me explain this in practical terms, all right? You want to get a job. You are transitioning from one job to another. And then you're just looking at the money. How much are they going to pay me? When I'm running recruitment, apologies, it seems I've gone out of, I removed the screen. So when I'm running recruitment for schools, and I'm trying to put out this, I'm sorry, I'm trying to locate where I lost my screen. Okay, so I'm asking the educators or that teacher or that school leader, what's important to you? And why do you need this job? What are your top 3 priorities? Many of them will say the pay, the economic benefits. That's a very important factor, right? Very important. But then if you put that at the top of your list, you may be misdirected. Yes, you may get it wrongly. All right. So when you are trying to hit a job, you need to consider other things. If truly you have been able to define this tip number 1, you understand what's important to you. Okay, you want to spend time with your family, and then you are trying to get a job that will keep you in traffic getting to work, you'll be in traffic for 3 hours, 4 hours. And you say, I don't care, so long as it's paying, huge, the pay is big. And You're looking at the paycheck, but you're not looking at, okay, before I'll see my children each day, it will be 10 p.m. When they'll be saying good night, mom, good night, dad, and even your spouse, you don't have time for them. How about the leisure we talked about? How about your faith? All right, spirituality, and then your health. So you need to consider all these things. Try to fit in work into your life, not life into work. Life is a whole, there's a whole lot to talk about in life. Aspects of life. Why do you want to shove a whole life into just one fragment of your life, which is work? It doesn't make sense. You will not live a fulfilled life. And that's a painful truth. All right. So it is work-life balance, not money-life balance. Look at that. It's work-life balance, not money-life balance, similar to what we had discussed in the last slide. Don't be money-driven. Money is important, yes, but don't let money become your priority in life. Make very wholesome choices when you're trying to land a job, okay? And what I mean by that is that you need to work to live and not living to work. But the truth is that, let me say 90% of us, because of the economy, I totally understand, but there's actually a way out, okay? So because of economy, many of us are working to live. Living to work, they're not working to live. So I need you to reflect, write down this question. Am I working to live or I'm living to work? You need to answer this question, and then so that you know what to do next. You take so that you redirect your steps before it's too late. We have many retirees who are living a life in regret. They wish that they had this opportunity to learn these tips to balance their lives. They just only to discover that all the people they felt they were living for abandoned them. All right. So the next tip is learn to be effective in getting work done within work hours. Now, this is very important. I don't know if I'll call it the crux of the matter tonight, of the session. You need to learn to, and again, this is controversial. You see professionals that will tell you, this is practically impossible. It's impossible. It's a lie. For me, it's possible. I am not sharing tips or things I haven't done. These are things that I have done. They're working, and they're working for tons of educators. Like I told you before I came on here, I did an informal survey. I was able to gather data, and I came up with these tips. So these are things that are working for people. So learn to be effective in getting work done within work hours. I know that, yes, this may not be 100%. There are sometimes you'll find yourself over the weekend trying to fix something about work or the other so that you prepare on Monday or for the new week. It's understandable, but do you know that you can minimize that and live a more fulfilled life and have your weekend for other aspects of your life? How do you do that? The first is that you need to spread the task for the week. Many of us don't plan. We just live arbitrarily. And that's not, I wonder how people live a fulfilling life or a fulfilled life when they don't plan their lives. Okay, what are the tasks that engage you at work every week? As a teacher, what are those tasks? You can put them up in the chat box. You have your lesson planning, which takes, I've had an educator saying that it takes 90% of her time, of her work life, of her work time. Lesson planning, you are trying to mark scripts or trying to grade students' work. And you are even receiving calls or trying to communicate with parents. You are trying to keep up with timelines or what we call deadlines and all of those. Now, you need to have an outline of your task. You can say a typical day in my life, this is what it looks like. I plan lessons, I do this, I pack the children's homework, I fill in the communication book and all of that. Someone is laughing. The person is saying lesson planning. Yes, yes, that's right. You know, let's try to mute our devices. Please mute your device. Thank you. Okay, so spread all the tasks. Before you spread, you need to have an outline of all the work, all the tasks you have on your table. So what will I be doing this week? Oh, this week, I'll be replying Mrs. Shola, Timi's mom. She asked about this. I think I'll be giving her a comprehensive reply on Tuesday. And then I'll be planning lessons for the entire week. for some schools, I learned that in some schools, teachers will plan lessons for the first half of the term, even before resumptions. Kudos to you, well done. That's no mean task. That's a very huge one. All right. So you'd say, okay, and then this week I'll be preparing the agenda for parent team morning. I was given that task. And then I'll also be doing this. I'll be carrying out baseline assessment. Yes, I hope you carry out baseline assessment to your school. If you don't, please introduce it. This is a new session, all right? Don't just start with revision on Monday, revision on Tuesday for the first week. What you should be doing for the first 2-3 days of resumption is baseline assessment, please. And then recording children's academic profiling their academics. So please take note of this. If you don't know what that means, I do not want to deviate from what we have today. So if you don't know what baseline assessment is, please go and research on that. I would have loved to teach us, but we don't want to digress, all right? So once you have outlined all the tasks for the week, what do? You spread them. It's okay, on Monday, I'll be doing this. If school closes, you dismiss the children, let's say at 2 p.m. every day. And then teachers are meant to leave the school 4 p.m. So it means that you have 2 hours to plan a lot of things. But guess what? That's the time many teachers will go. Mrs. Folake will go to Mr. Kelvin's class and say, how far now? How far that crypto thing? That's when they discuss and gossip. But teachers who understand their onions, educators, leaders, they know they have time for everything. I don't know if I have any of my mentees or former colleagues in the house. They will tell you that you don't just march into my class then. When I was active in the classroom, you don't just come into my classroom and say, hey, Mrs. Godfrey, I want to, how they do is that they will knock on the door and say, Mrs. Godfrey, can I come in? I say, okay, give me 1 hour, 30 minutes. They say, okay. They don't do it to any other teacher, just me, all right? They would, and then when I let them come in, they'll say, okay, how many minutes are you giving me? And I'll be laughing. They say, Mrs. Godfrey, how many minutes do you want to spend? Let me know how to arrange my talk. I was okay, I'm giving you 10 minutes. And you see them running with it. Okay, what I want to talk about is this. And then when they want to discuss something outside professional boundaries, I say, look, you're getting, in fact, at a point, they don't even try it. You see? And sincerely, I am not, like I said earlier, I'm not saying I've arrived, but I was succeeding at work. I was succeeding on the other aspects of life as much as I could, as I am doing now as well. All right. Like I said, it's a learning curve. I'm learning every day and getting better at it. Okay. So work. And then when you spread the task, ensure that you are doing this within this time. Some teachers try to use their break period while they're putting an eye on the children, while they're playing or having their lunch. They're using that time to fill in the communication books. That's planning. These are teachers that know what to do at every point in time. They don't waste any time. Another one is brain breaks. Brain breaks for educators here who understand flexible scheduling or the science of timetabling, right? Go and research on these terms. I would love to teach us, but for time and then for the fear of digressing, all right? Even though your schedule, the timetable in your school stipulates that every session or every lesson should be 40 minutes, 45 minutes, 50 minutes, as the case may be. You should be flexible as a 21st century educator who understands his or her onions. What do? Have brain breaks. It's a two-way, it's a double-edged sword. It works for the children, it works for you. It's a miracle that many educators are deploying. And it's working. You don't want to burn out. No, I hate to see teachers or educators burn out. Okay, what do? If the lesson is 45 minutes, you do 40 minutes. You ensure that you achieve everything you need to achieve in that instruction within 40 minutes. And then you have 5 minutes for brain breaks. From break, this is when you have maybe the children lay their head on their desk, you tell them to take a little rest. You can do the same. Or you play a soft music in the classroom, and someone may be asking, what, in the classroom? Yes. Educators, I advise to have this little speaker. How much is it? You can buy it for 5K, this Bluetooth speaker, and then you have music in your phone, and then you connect and you're playing soft music for that 5 minutes. You don't understand. Go and study the science of learning, how the brain works, the benefits of brain breaks, and then you understand what it does to your brain as an educator. That 5 minutes of taking a break and then unwinding, it will help you to achieve something you will not achieve in 2 hours. Ordinarily, you'll be achieving it in 20 minutes, in 30 minutes. This is not an exaggeration. This is a trick. All right. Now, leverage effective teaching techniques. Yes. Don't be too traditional. Educators who know who understand 21st century teaching approaches, they leverage on them. And they are able to achieve a lot within a short time. Yes, you may be asking, what are those techniques? I don't know if it was, okay, not here. Just last week in another group where we have educators, we're talking about high impact teaching and learning strategies, where I was sharing some of these techniques, inquiry-based learning, and then flipped classroom, and how we can actually, it was practical. Okay, you have children. Okay, we talk a lot about learning styles. Okay, I know many educators around the world, they're also saying that there's nothing like learning styles, but that's not my business. What we're talking about is that ensure that lessons are multisensory. They're able to connect with children in different pathways. Okay, ensure that every kind of thank God we're all critical thinkers. When you're planning your lesson, you're asking some questions, very deep questions. And one of those questions is, how can this lesson represent all the different kinds of learners I have in my class? There are some learners that you know that if they don't engage in the lesson actively, if they don't get their hands soiled, or they don't get something doing with their hands and the entire body, they're not going to learn. Why don't you plan a lesson in a way that it will represent those set of learners? And those of them who want to see, they want to explore their visuals, why don't you ensure that they are gainfully represented? That's what I call a buffet classroom. All right, you know how buffet works, right? When you go to a party and they say serve yourself, you have all kinds of meal. You just go for the one that appeals to you. Ensure their lessons are like that. It appeals to all kinds of learners in your classroom. And of course, you differentiate instructions so that you're not struggling with one lesson and you're trying to shove it down the throat of every learner. You're saying, okay, today we're going to do improper and proper fractions. And then you find some group of learners who don't even understand fraction. And you're saying, no, today we must learn improper fractions. Come on, you're actually deceiving yourself. And the truth is that you are wasting your time. That's the truth. So try to leverage teaching techniques that will save your time. Delegate, especially leaders. We want to do everything and we try to micromanage. Why don't you delegate? You need to master the art and even the science of delegation. When you don't delegate, you want to be everything to everyone, you want to be everywhere, you are going to burn out and you will be counterproductive. That's the truth. So master the art of delegation. As a teacher as well, you can do that. You actually can delegate in your classroom. After all, we talk about classroom management. You're a manager in your classroom. This is where you flex your leadership muscle. All right. Then work smart. We hear that a lot. What does it mean for educators? It means that people are transitioning from hard work to smart work. Let me give you a tip. You are planning lessons, and in this digital world, teachers no longer spend hours or days trying to plan lessons. What do? They leverage digital resources. That lesson you are trying to plan, that topic, an educator somewhere in a part of the world has planned something even more detailed, more experiential than you. Why don't you go and look at it? Okay, today I want to change verbs, and I want to make the lesson. I want to incorporate questioning techniques in this lesson because I am trying to raise children, learners who are critical thinkers, who will. I'm trying to transform knowledge to skills. Right? Go online and get lessons. I'm not saying you should copy and paste. That's why you're working smart. You're just trying to save time. And then if you're in a school where you use PowerPoint slides for lessons to deliver lessons instructions, and why do you have to spend hours trying to plan the slides when you have tons of them online that you just tweak That's working smart. When you do the otherwise, you're actually working hard and nobody send you. They go say, nobody send you, right? In our local palace, all right? So work smart. That thing you're trying to do, an educator somewhere in the part of the world, actually an evolving educator, not a traditional educator, has done it. Go there and learn and then pick some things and save your time. Okay, I know educators who pay every month. I'm not asking you to do this. If you want to save your time, you can do it. They subscribe monthly on certain platform like Twinkle. On Twinkle, when they subscribe, I think every month it's just about 2,000 naira. You can access worksheets. I mean, tons of worksheets you cannot even exhaust in a term. You can access PowerPoint slides for every lesson you can think about. You can access assessment questions that are differentiated and, of course, that foster creativity, critical thinking, and all those skills we talk about. Okay, so work smart. Please stop working hard. And then we now have tip number 5. Remember, there are just 10 tips, okay? So understand each season of your life. This is important, please. Know what piece of your life, that's a mistake I made there. So know what piece of your life needs the most attention in that season. We are all operating in different seasons. Let's go practical, okay? Now, you are in a season of your life where we're talking about work-life balance now. You're asking yourself, I made a mistake when I was choosing this job. I didn't even consider the traffic. I didn't consider the work hours. I didn't even consider that this job actually does not align with my values. And now I'm here and I need the money to pay school fees. I need the money to sort out bills. Don't say because, okay, we have done this, you've learned this and you're quitting your job without planning. No, you're in a season of your life, you know that, okay, I am planning how I'll get out of this place. But while I'm here, I must not find myself guilt tripping. I will not beat myself so hard. It's just a season and it's going to fizzle, but it doesn't mean that you should remain there. You have to plan a way out. Okay, so understand what season of your life you are and know what needs the most attention. You may be in a season of your life where your husband or your children, or maybe your parents, your dying mother, God forbid, need an attention. Let me give you an example. One of the head of schools I installed in one of our new schools, Ataja, I was asking why he resigned in certain, top class school. And he said at that point in his life, he needed to give attention to his mom. The mom is late now, unfortunately, but he needed to give her attention, but the work wasn't letting him to. He would apply for leave, let's say 1 week, to attend to his dying mom, taking her from one hospital to another. He wasn't given. And at a point he said, look, yes, I need this money, but right now this woman is dying, but she requires my attention. He resigned, he left, and he went to attend to the mom. Okay, so know what season of your life you are and know what requires your attention. Give it to it. Don't say, okay, people are paying attention to work, I should. No, don't compare yourself. That's the problem we have in the world of today. We're on social media and then we're trying to live in other people's shadow. We're trying to pattern our lives against some other person's life. Please know what works for you. You're in a season, the season I am right now is actually distinct from the season you are. So know where you are now and then know how to transition from that season to next. Now, build a support system. Seek help. That's tip number 6. You need support system. Many of us, we don't. Your support system can be anyone. It could be your spouse, all right? You know that, okay, this period of my life or this time at work, we're trying to meet a deadline or we're trying to smash a timeline. And it will require me staying back at work until 6 p.m. Remember I talked about season. Now this is a season, right? Don't beat your head yourself too hard. Don't say, oh, I'm spending too much time at work and my children need me. You will go back home and your mom will say, your child will say, oh, I miss you so much. And your husband will say, oh, my darling wife, when are we going to have our time to ourselves again? And you say, I'm a failure. No. The truth is that apart from the fact that you're in a season, you need to have a support system. You need to sit your spouse down to say, okay, at this point, this whole 2 weeks, work will be intensive. Can you please help me I mean, I need your support at home, in the home front. Okay. How do we do with preparing meals, having meals in the freezer stocked up and all that? You are planning out. Your support system could be your friends. Get support. They're supporting you not just financially, they're supporting with their time. All right. There are people who have got your back. They're also supporting with the right counsel. Seek help. Don't keep quiet. Don't die in silence. I wish I can give more instances, but I'm looking at time. And then tip number 7, learn to politely say no. This is what many, if not all of us, have not mastered. I'm still learning too, because this can be emotional. You don't want to hurt people. This is where people actually part ways. You don't want to step on toes. So you're careful to say no. You're too careful to say no. The problem with saying no is that we don't do it politely. All right. And then some few times when we even do it politely, you still end up stepping on toes. It's okay. All right. You cannot live your life entirely without stepping on toes. Do you mean to? No, you don't mean to, but it just happens. I keep telling some people that everyone will be all right. Just do what's right and be empathetic as much as you can. Be polite. All right. It could be your boss. You want to say no to some things. I don't want to go practical before you go and implement it and get into trouble. So whatever no means at any point in time, please, if you need that no to survive, if you need that no to pay attention to a very critical part of aspect of your life, go on to say no politely. Not, no, I can't do this. It is, oh, I'm so sorry. I really cannot do this at this time. But I promise you, I can give you every support you require. And blah, blah, blah. Just do it politely. So master the art of saying no. Ooh, look at this one. It deal with trauma. Why did I put this up here? Like I told you, I am writing based on experience. I'm sharing based on experiences, not just rules and theories. Now, I have figured out that as a school leader myself, I have worked with diverse professionals, educators, and I've seen a lot. I have dealt with educators, adults who are autistic. They didn't even know. And that's because we educators, I know many of us are in this boat with me. We take up certifications, not because we want to become experts in those areas. It's because we need those knowledge to help us, work effectively as an educator. I don't know if you get what I mean. Let me give you an example. I'm a certified, if I want to build my CV now, I want to reel out all my certifications, we'll be running. I'm a certified career counselor. I'm a psychologist. I'm a data scientist. I'm a this. I am not getting certified in these areas because I really want to be an expert in those areas. That's because I need those, I need the knowledge to help the people that matter a lot to me, the children, the teachers, school leaders all over the world. Okay, so that made me to take on some certifications to get exposed in certain fields. And I was able to figure some things. Let me give you one example. One of my juniors in one of my former workplaces, I discovered that we made her the school's administrator. She was in the classroom. She was underperforming. Very intelligent fellow, super intelligent, but she was underperforming. There's nothing we didn't do. We mapped out, I personally, as her boss, I mapped out an individualized improvement plan for her. It didn't work. I gave her a mentor outside myself. It didn't work. And then I said, okay, what's the problem? Well, we tried everything we could. We made her to go for outside training, outside the school. It didn't work. I said, okay. I took her as a project. I think I loved her so much. So I went back up, aside praying, yes, I got the Holy Spirit actually opened my eyes to some things. And I said, okay. I called her, said, Miss this, let me not mention her name. She might be here. She's always everywhere I am. Okay. So I asked her, can we have a personal conversation, really deep talk, frank talk? She said, yes, ma'am. I said, okay, we're going to find a very cozy, private place to do this. And we did. So we sat down. I said, look, if you're not going to be frank with me, in fact, if you know you need help in your life right now, be frank with me. I'm not saying I have the solution to your problem, but I truly can help you. And we started talking. I said, what is the problem with you? What's going on in your life? Tell me, let's talk about your personal life, if you don't mind. And she gave me this consent. We started discussing. And I asked her about, we were trying to go back to history. I asked her, she was saying, I don't know. She was crying. I said, look, let's not get emotional. We need solution. And then I bursted the bubble. I asked her, okay, have you been raped before in your life? She looked at me. She was shocked. She's like, Mrs. Godfrey. I said, I'm sorry to ask you. I'm really very sorry. Remember, I got your consent to do this. She said, yes. She hugged me and she wept. She said, yes, when she was 13, she was raped. She was coming back from choir rehearsals, I think. And then one of the, I think the choir master or something, boycotted her, pushed her into the bush. They were coming back from an all-night and raped her. She never, she wasn't the same person, of course, you know. And she wept, and both of us were crying. We were crying, we were weeping. When we were done crying, I said, it's fine. It's okay. I want to help you. Can you do this with me? She said, yes. And we said, we sought for therapy. Now you may be asking, how did I even go that direct? How was I direct to know this is the problem or this was the problem? I'm certified, okay? I understand trauma. I understand post-traumatic stress syndrome. And I know, I can tell what symptom this is and that. And guess what? She was beyond the age of marriage. Let me not say beyond, but she had come of age. She could not keep any relationship. And by the time she sought for help, we received help on her behalf. And we went through a process, a journey of therapy and all that counseling. Guess what? She was able to keep a stable relationship in a short while, and they are married. Many of us know this educator. Yes, she's a very popular educator. She's married, happily married with 2 kids. And why I'm saying this is that if you are traumatized, if you're suffering from any form of trauma or depression, you'll find it difficult to balance work and life, to succeed in work and life. Please get help. Please, I beg you, get help. Don't live in denial. Seek for help. You may be going through this training and then you are thinking, okay, by the time I will force myself and do some things. Look, if you don't get help, the demon will kill, it will keep biting. The serpent will keep biting. I'm sorry. I know I'm getting emotional about this. So the second to the last tip for tonight is reflect and project. You need to sit back and reflect on your life from time to time and ask yourself, am I truly giving attention to these things that matter to me? Am I giving attention to my family? The attention they deserve. Am I giving my work the attention it deserves? And then how about leisure? When last did I take out time to take myself out and to spend time with friends? Many of your friends haven't heard from you in a long while. You don't even pick up your phone and call. I'm not sure in a long while you have even spoken to them for 30 minutes on a call, not to talk of hanging out with them. So reflect on your life. Is this the life you want to live? And then project. Ask yourself in the next 10 years, 20 years, depending on your age, will I look back and smile and say, yes, I lived and I'm living a fulfilled life? I told you many retirees are regretting. They now look back and say, if I had known. You don't want to cry, had I known, right? Remember that all the people, those aspects of your life you are neglecting today, they will come after you in the future. Yes, if you do work, and you don't pay attention to family or health, your health will come for you in later years. So please reflect and project. And then finally, negotiate with your boss. Negotiate with your boss. How do you do this? We have people who are negotiators, very good ones. They know that if things are not going well in the workplace, thank God we're all change makers, right? You make that change in your workplace, you sit down with the management. But guess what? You can't do this if you're not an A player. If you are a mediocre in your place of work, nobody will listen to you. But if you are on top of your game, they will listen to you. And you're coming with evidence, right? Apologies about the background noise, okay? So negotiate with your boss, tell them, okay, there's a way we can actually strategize to plan work so that people can have time for personal life. If it says that in your school that, okay, work needs to end by 3 p.m., then work needs to end by 3 p.m. Okay, now do the little things you need to do. You do not need rules, like I said. You'll notice that we didn't actually reel out rules in the session today. It's on purpose. That's because many times simple does the trick. The little changes you need to make, do it, and you see how your life will change in no time. So finally, what's your role as a school leader? School leaders here, you have a lot of responsibilities. You have a role to play. People are not machines. Please. People are not machines. Let's be fair. Let's try to be fair. The policies you have, I mean, yes, you have the right to your policies, but I have seen so very inhumane policies. All right. Remember, the rules are made for people, not the other way around. Please, let's be humans. Okay. Build a work-life balance, responsive school. When you have said in your policy that workers or your workforce or your team members or staff, they need to end work at 4 p.m., allow them go. If you as a school leader, you don't prioritize work-life balance or work-life integration, harmony, whatever you want to call it, then it will be difficult to actually allow, your staff to balance their own lives. Please. So try to think about how you can build a more work-life balance, responsive school. Apologies, I can see a misspelled word there. So I have a lot to share, like I said earlier, but for time, thank you so much for sticking with me. I do hope you have got one or two things to run with.
Wow, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Mrs. Gift. That was so much needed. If you know you needed to hear that, just put it in the comment section on the chat session. I needed to hear that. I needed to hear that. For me, it was much needed. It was much needed to hear that. And yes, we are so short of we don't have so much time, so we will not take too many questions. But one thing I want us to do is, Mrs. Gift shared with us 10 tips. So write in the comment section which one hit home the most. Which one did you really would you take action doing immediately? It's important that we begin to put actions to what we've heard so that we will not forget it and not run with it. As you are hearing, put the action point. What will you do with this? And if you have questions, please, you can put it in the comment section. I will get it. I don't know if Mrs. Gill will be here to the end. So if we need to take some questions now, or we'll take them later, because I know our second speaker is also on the call already. Yes, thank you. I needed to hear that. Thank you, Blessing. If you have any question, please, you can put it in the comment section. I would write them down and then probably take just like 2-3 questions before we move to the next session. So if you have 2 to 3 questions, please put it up. 2 to 3 questions. Let's just take those questions and then we would please, a little hint on baseline assessment. I know that's not part of the discussion today. I knew that would catch educators' attention. Please, except Mrs. Gift can do that within few seconds, but you can research it, like she said. Please research it, and we would also know how can we connect with you, Ma. How can we connect with you outside this? Maybe your social media handles.
Okay, so on Facebook, Gift Godfrey. In fact, on LinkedIn, Gift Godfrey on all platforms.
All right.
Yes.
So please search her out. You search her out on LinkedIn, on Facebook, Gift Godfrey. Follow her so that you can also connect with her. Thank you so much, Mrs. Gift. Yes, we needed to hear that, and it was so good having you around. It was so practical. It was so straight to the point, and it's something that it's easy to take action on immediately. Right. Thank you so much, Ma. I know if you have questions, please feel free to ask your questions. It's okay to ask those questions so that we would be able to on with what we've heard. Okay, so if there are no questions right now, if there are no questions, because I can't see any question in the comment section, I would run into the next speaker. I'm sure that towards the end, probably there will be more questions, and then we'll be able to sort out those questions. Thank you so very much, Miss Gift. Thank you for the time well spent. It was so much needed information right now, especially that we are preparing for a new session. I'm going to, for me, I know I needed to hear that. I needed to balance my work and life, and I will be making good use of a lot of these points that you've given us. Yes, to the next speaker, I would have to call on the next speaker. All right, the next speaker, let me share a major right. Okay, the next speaker is Mrs. Olusheye. I believe I don't know if I'm pronouncing this well, but please permit me or apologize if I'm not pronouncing it. Olusheye Igbafe. Olusheye Igbafe. I'm not pronouncing. She is an HR and management consultant, a corporate trainer, a keynote speaker, a life coach, a podcast host, a wife and a mother, and a school leader trainer with British Council School Connect. And today she will be sharing with us from our wealth of experience, from our broad experience about effective leadership in education. Effective leadership in education. Yes, some people may say, oh, I'm not a leader, but the truth is that as a teacher, you are a leader. Because someone said that what students are crying out for today is not teacher, teach me, but teacher, lead me. Teacher, lead me. So we are all leaders in the making. So effective leadership in education, Mrs. Olusheye Igbafe. She will take off the stage right now as we please in the chat session welcome her with a clap emoji. Welcome her. We say welcome her, and then let's hear our session. Get yourself ready. Get yourself mind ready. Thank you, Mrs. Olusheye. You can take over from here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Folabi. You didn't murder my name. You were very close.
Oh, thank you.
My name is Olusheye Igbafe. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Hope you're having a fantastic time and a great learning time. It's my pleasure to be here. So I want to say thank you to the organizers, the change makers. Thank you, Shola, for having me here. And it's wonderful to be with you. And we'll be talking about effective leadership in education. So let me just go ahead and start sharing my screen so that we can jump into the conversation. But how has it been so far? So if you can use a word, any word to describe your experience so far, put that word in the chat box. I like to see that word. How has your experience been so far on this, the webinars, the series of webinars? Use one word. I'm sure the organizers will be glad to see that word. So use one word. Okay, thank you. Buki Bam says loaded. So please check in and just use any word. Mind blowing says okay. Yes. How else would you describe it? Amazing. It's interesting. Needed. I like that. Needed. Much needed. Yeah. So I popped in yesterday and I spent a little time listening to one of the speakers. And yes, indeed, it's been inspiring. It's been amazing. And it's been impactful. Thank you very much. Very wonderful. All right, so I won't waste much time. Let's jump into our conversation. And I would like to start with, so I'm not going to do this again because I think Mr. Folabi has done a great job of introducing me. So let me not toot my own on. All right, so educational leadership, that's what we're talking about today. And so in the education space, and let's just throw this, or let's start with this question, because Mr. Folabi mentioned something. He said that everybody is a leader. And I'm wondering, is that really true? Is everybody really a leader? Or do we have some people that are leaders? So let's ask ourselves, let's squeeze ourselves on this. in the education space, in the education industry, or within the school system? We'll answer this question one after the other. Number one, who are the learners? So I want us to go into the chat box. So I'm going to do some things in the chat box today. Who are the learners? So I want you to identify the learners. That's the first question. Who are the learners? So let's go and identify the learners, and then we'll come back and identify the leaders. Who are the learners? Who would you describe as the learners in the within the education space? Who are the learners? So yes, this is a small test for us. Who are the learners? Who would you refer to as the learners? I'd like to see your answers in the chat box. Okay, the learners are those that you think you teach. Thank you, Maria. Who are the learners? Yes. Just write it for me in the chat box. Who do you consider to be the learners in the education space, in the school system? Who are the learners? Maria said the learners are those that you teach. Yes, you can agree with that. The ones learning. Buki, that's a very, how will I say it now? Very gray answer. The ones learning. Okay, I will take it, yeah, because they have not said exactly. Afobla says, I believe both the teachers and students are learners. That's another dimension. Okay, let's still have a few more answers. The learners are those you try to teach and impart knowledge to. Thank you, Che. Okay, let's get one or two more people to answer. People who are ready to acquire knowledge. This kind of answers are a bit vague. People are ready to acquire knowledge. Okay, is it anybody that's ready to acquire knowledge? Is that a learner? Who are the learners? I like to get one or two more answers, and then we'll move to the next question, which is who are the leaders? Okay, can I get one more answer on who are the learners? And then let's move to who are the leaders within the school space. Who are the leaders? We're talking about effective leadership in education. Who are these leaders? Who are the leaders and who are the learners? All right, let's try our hand on the second question. Who are the leaders? Who are the leaders? Can I see your answer in the chat box? Who are the leaders? Who would you consider to be the leader within the space? Okay. Maria, I like her, very responsive. The teachers are the leaders. People who are open-minded to new ideas, says Joyful Heart, are the leaders. Okay. Can I get one or two more? Who are the leaders? Students are learners. Teachers are leaders. Elizabeth just, very defined. Everybody has their own role to play. Okay. One or two other persons. Leaders are people who guide and direct. Okay, people who guide and direct. Okay, thank you for your wonderful responses. I'd like to give you a new perspective today, and that's taking it off a bit from where Afolabi mentioned. And that is that, so I have which says leaders are teachers who lead by examples, learners are anyone at the receiving end of the teaching and learning process. People who show you how to go about something are the learners. Okay, let's start with who are the learners. I want to ask you a question, maybe by show of hands. How many of you, as a teacher, you have learned something from your students? You went to class teaching, you had a 100% grasp on a particular topic, a particular perspective, a particular example, only for you to be 100% taught by your students. Can you use an emoji to show your hands? So it's a confession time. Does that happen to you? So at that point, were you really the teacher, you were the learner? So in the education or in the learning environment, we are all learners. We are all learners because, I mean, when we talk from lifelong learning, the fact that anybody who wants to teach must continually learn. For you to teach, you must learn. So even though you are teaching someone, you are a learner. So you must have that disposition of always being open to learning. Within the school environment, you will learn from your colleagues, you will learn from your, I know we use the word learners usually to talk about students, but beyond that description, I want us to have that consciousness that we are also learners. So we approach the classroom more like, yes, we are teaching, but we're also facilitating knowledge. And in that environment where you are facilitating knowledge, you will also gain knowledge. But the second part is where I want to talk about. Who are the leaders? A lot of times, both in the educational space or within, hierarchy of businesses and systems, most of us think of leaders as the people, like somebody gave an example, only the people who hold positions. And so somebody is saying here tonight that what does this really have to do with me when we talk about effective leadership in education? I don't have any position. I don't have any role. Am I a leader? We are also all leaders. Even our learners can actually have leadership opportunities. And this is really a bit out of the scope of my talk, but I'll just mention that even as a teacher, you must give your students opportunity to lead. So whether it's to lead the class in solving a problem, to lead in making a decision, to lead an activity, we begin to build leadership into our students by giving them leadership opportunities. That's why we have class prefect, the person who gathers the assignments, the person who cleans the board, the person who goes to call a teacher, and different roles. We have school leadership, we have school voices. All these are avenues for us to develop leadership, even in our students, while they do not have any defined role. So this means that leadership is not only defined by a role. Leadership is not only defined by a role. A lot of people are waiting to be chosen for leadership before they begin to develop leadership values, before they begin to develop leadership skills, because leadership has a lot to do with skills. Leadership is not about the job. So you can actually have the job if you do not have the skills to play that role of a leader. You'll be an ineffective leader. Don't wait until you are given a leadership role to begin to show leadership skills, to begin to develop your leadership skills. Every person within the school space, whether it is a teacher, it is a learner, it is somebody in the admin, has leadership potentials. We are all leaders at some level or another. And we must begin to display that leadership quality and that leadership ability even before we get into the space. Even we get into the role, or we get into the job, or we get into the title. And when we do that, when we get into the role, it then becomes easy for us to fit in and to function effectively as a leader. One of the things I tell people when I'm coaching them or when I'm training them is that when you get a job, there are 3 assignments that you have. The first thing is to grow into your job. What does it mean to grow into your job? You get a job, you are given a job description, you are given KPIs. Your first goal as a person is to meet all the targets of your job, is to do excellently on your job. That is your target. So if you are not meeting up to the standard of your job, you have not even really earned your salary. Sorry to say that, but that's true. Okay, because you are being paid to fulfill that role. So your first thing is to grow into that job, to be able to do everything that that job requires with some level of expertise and finesse. The second level is to grow your job. To grow your job means that you are not only meeting the standard that is required, you are able to do other things. You're able to see that this needs to be done. This needs to be added. Okay, so not only am I being taught to teach this class, I also need to create opportunities for students who may have 1 or 2 challenges, who are struggling. I also need to coach and mentor some other things. I also need to support my teammates. I also need to go out of the box. When you do that, you become a candidate for leadership. I tell people this. When you do your job, your reward is your salary. That is what you are owed by the organization. They owe you to pay your salary for doing your job. If you agree with me, put any emoji of your choice. If you don't agree with me, it's okay. But if you agree with me, let me say any emoji of your choice. People do their job, basically their job, and they want to be promoted. You have not earned the promotion. To earn a promotion, you have to outgrow your job. To outgrow your job means that it is almost a waste to keep you on that role, because there's so much that you can bring to the table. There's so much that you can add. There's so much value that you can add. And as such, paying you that amount of money, keeping you on that position becomes a threat. As a matter of fact, the organization becomes scared that they may lose you, because you are now adding value beyond what you are being paid for. And that is the fastest way to get promoted and get given that role of leadership. A lot of us want the organization to take a chance of us. They should look at me now. They should consider me now. They should promote me now. What skills, what abilities have you displayed that gives them that confidence that if they move you into a higher role, that you'll be able to fit in? The current role that you are given, have you been able to fully display your ability? Do you have the skills? Have you showed that you have, conscious and unconscious competence within that role? It is when you're able to display that consistently, then the school says, no, we can't just keep Gift doing this. We need Gift to do so. She brings so much to the table. We need to give her a bigger role. You find them co-opting you into different committees, seeking your thoughts. You have become a thought leader, and that is how leadership comes about. So if you are here today and you are wondering and you are thinking, I'm not a leader, or maybe you want to listen to me and then be able to judge people that are leaders in your school, I challenge you today, number one, to start developing yourself for leadership. Make yourself the obvious next leader in that organization if you are not already a leader. And if you're already a leader, ask yourself, do I have the leadership roles, or am I just bearing the title? Because if I ask us to start telling stories of people that have leadership roles but do not have leadership skills, there will be so many of them. So even if you're a leader today, ask yourself, do I have the leadership role, the leadership skills, the abilities, the knowledge, the attitude, the competencies of leadership, or am I just carrying a title? Because leadership is not synonymous with title. You can be a leader without having a title. You can have a title and be an ineffective leader. So 2 things I want to take away from this point right now. Number one, everybody here is a leader at some level or the other. But you must grow your leadership skills, your leadership ability. You must outgrow your job such that they can't but you become that valuable to them. And of course, in that, you raise your own value as a person. So everybody here is a leader, and everything we're going to be saying in the next few minutes applies to you. So I want you to listen and enjoy yourself and personalize it. Don't share it with somebody. Don't say, that's for my leader. So the title is Effective Leadership in Education. What is effective leadership in education? And again, this cuts across every one of us, whether you are leading at the classroom, you are leading the admin block, you are leading a team, you are leading from outside as a support in the educational system. Effective leadership in education is the ability to guide, influence, and inspire individuals. And these individuals include your students, teams, and the entire educational institution. So if you're a school leader in terms of you have a position as the vice principal or the principal or the proprietress, you have your leadership is effective when you are able to influence and inspire. You can see the words there. Influence and inspire. It's not about bullying. It's not about threatening. It's not about sacking and giving queries. It's about that ability to guide. To guide means that you have knowledge. You know what you are doing. You have the competence. People follow, they say follow who know road, right? People follow people who know road. Allow me to be a bit relaxed in my conversation. Okay, so the ability to guide people. You know what to tell them. You know what to do. You understand the principles, the processes. And when you don't even understand, you are willing to learn. You can influence others. The word influence, and I want you to take that, at something that will drive you as a leader, whether you're currently a leader or you're, aspiring to become one or walk into a leadership position right now. It's about influence. It's not about bullying. It's not about using autocratic power. If you're using autocratic power or any kind of power to get people to do what they need to do, once your back is turned, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. So you must be able to influence them and inspire them. An effective leader is somebody who inspires people. So even if we talk about effective leadership in the classroom, it means you inspire your students to achieve their goals. You create that positive and productive learning environment. Meaning that if you're a leader and people, once you park your car, everybody takes off. You need to reconsider what kind of environment that you are creating. Okay? If you are a teacher that wants people to see everybody they're afraid. I'm not saying people shouldn't be disciplined. I'm not saying people shouldn't adjust themselves. But what drives them should be inspiration, should be a positive and productive learning environment. Don't create a system of eye service as a leader. Create an environment where you are positively inspiring people and you are positively influencing them to do what they need to do. It involves setting a clear vision. We'll talk about that. Making strategic decisions and fostering collaboration. The time where, teachers, are pitted against each other, the school leader does divide and rule. You have people who are from your ethnic group. You have your own circles of people that are loyal to you and gossip to you. That time has gone. In today's world, it is all about collaboration. So even as a teacher, you must collaborate with your team members. You must collaborate. You must work hand in hand with your team heads. You must work in hand with your colleagues. You must work hand in hand with the school authority. The one team means together, everyone achieves more. So collaboration is the word of the day, not competition. And as a school leader, if you are running a school, if you own a school, or if you're a proprietor school, I'm trying to look for a very nice way of saying this, because I will have said one of the silliest things, but I don't know if that's the word I want to use. But permit me to say that, is to pit your people against each other, to create competition instead of collaboration. When you create a competitive environment, people hide information. So Mr. Falabi knows what it is that can make the whole school thrive. But instead of sharing with other teachers, he utilizes it in his own class. And so he has a fantastic class, but then the whole school suffers. But collaboration means everybody is sharing and everybody is learning from each other. So as an individual, you can collaborate with people. That means that when you two know something, when you come back from a webinar, when you come back from an experience, and you have knowledge that is vital, that can be beneficial, when you know how to handle a particular problem in class, you share it with other people. That is how you show leadership. That is how you demonstrate leadership, even as a class teacher. You are always sharing ideas. You're always sharing information with people. Oh, you are giving them tips on how to do things. You are already demonstrating leadership. When it's time to pick a team head, you become the obvious choice. But when you can't share, when you're always keeping things to yourself, we're always quarreling with people, when you're always hiding things, who is going to make you a leader now? Why? Why would anybody do that? Do they want to ruin their business? Do they want to ruin their business? No. So collaboration is one of the things that positions you as a leader. It shows you, it showcases you that this person can lead because you are able to share with others. You support your colleagues when they need your support. You help them out, not at the detriment of yourself. Remember that the last speaker talked about work-life balance. But where you can, you do give them that support. So everything is done. Your goal as a person is to enhance the quality of education in that school system and improve student outcomes. Once that is your goal, it becomes obvious to everyone. But we have some mindsets in, I need to move from this side. We have some mindsets in Nigeria. I can't come and keep myself for, Once you have those kind of mindsets, you have no business moving towards leadership. Because leadership is being exemplary. It is setting the tone. It is ensuring and being invested in the outcomes. Leadership, for me, I use a leadership framework, and the leadership framework that I use treats leadership or prescribes leadership through the lens of 3 levels. The first thing about leadership is self-leadership. Before you can lead others, you must be able to lead yourself. No matter how effectively you are leading, you cannot even be effective in leading others if you cannot lead yourself. So we'll talk about that first level of leadership, which is self-leadership. Leadership starts with you leading yourself. Then you move to the second of leadership, which is team leadership. And from there, you move to the third level of leadership, which is organizational leadership. All these 3 levels are integrated into one another, and they all play a crucial role in driving your success. So we'll take a quick look at self-leadership. Self-leadership, like I said, is leading yourself. That's basically what it is. And it involves you as a person, whether you're a teacher, you're an administrator, you're a school owner, you're an educational professional, whatever it is, to manage and guide your own actions and decisions to align with the goals of the institution. And I talked just a few seconds about that. Most of the time, I mean, for most organizations or institutions or schools, their outcome, their goal is to foster a positive learning environment where there is high quality teaching and learning and the student outcomes are positive. So to start leading yourself, it starts with you doing that, managing yourself. And how do you manage them? There are 3 things that you can do. Number 1, have a vision and a mission, and make sure that it is aligned to the vision and the mission of the school. As we're starting this new year, ask yourself, look at your results from last term or from last year. What was the percentage of your students? What was the percentage of those that passed? How well did they do? What did you do well? What didn't you do well? What is your vision from the next class that is coming, to meet you? What is your vision for them? And make sure that this vision from them and this mission for them aligns with the mission and the vision for the school. So always have that. Once you do that, you find out that you are working in tandem with school management. Don't start the year without having a goal for yourself or what you want to achieve in your students or what kind of outcomes you want to achieve in your students. You must set that goal for this year, that this year, the students in my class, this is the level at which they will perform. you know, I have a very interesting story, something that happened to me. I used to be a teacher. And when I was in the classroom, I came in from the corporate, you know, from the corporate world into the education industry, from another industry, from the aviation industry into the education industry. And from where I was coming, everything is done excellently well. You know, aviation has very high standards of performance. So I came into the education industry like that, doing everything very well, always being driven. Oh, my students, oh, my students, oh, my students. Oh, I need to cover my lessons. Oh, I need to support this person, without even realizing that I was doing anything out of the ordinary. And before I knew, there was a spotlight on me. And I was wondering, why is there a spotlight on me? And what am I even doing? But they saw that everything I was doing is exactly what the school has always cried that they wanted to be done. That was all. Their passion is that the students learn. My passion is that the students learn. Their passion is that the students do well. My passion is that the students do well. Their passion is that the teachers teach everything, teach well, relate, you know, concepts to real life, are able to make the students understand. Those were all my passions. And because of that alignment in my own vision and their own vision, that put a spotlight on me that I didn't even know there was. The second thing, let me move on. So ensure that as you move into September, as you start a new session, start by revising what happened last session. How well did you do? You know, what were your deliverables? What were your challenges? What are you going to do differently? What outcomes do you want to see in your students? When you define that and it aligns with the school's value, you become invaluable to the school. Number two, professional development. And they should train me. If they don't train me, I will not train myself. If they don't train you and you don't train yourself, you remain untrained. But by being here tonight, I don't think I need to talk more about this, because for you to be here tonight at this time, listening, buying data to listen to this, it shows that you are committed to professional development. I always say this, those who invest in themselves will always reap the rewards. You cannot be the same person compared to somebody who doesn't invest in themselves. Even if right now it's not showing, don't worry about that, people. Just continue to pour into yourself. Eventually, it's like somebody who goes to the gym. The first few months that you go to the gym, you won't have 6 packs immediately, right? You won't, if you know what I'm saying, you put an emoji up. Okay, you won't have 6 packs immediately. Nobody will say, oh, you went to the gym yesterday, so look at your muscles. That's not how it works, right? Am I right? Can I have an emoji to be sure that you agree with me? Okay, that's not how it works. Nobody will see it and say, oh, you were at the gym yesterday, look at your muscles. No. But over time, as you consistently invest in yourself, you find out that your body begins to change. And over time, everybody can see that, wow, this is somebody who goes to the gym. This is somebody who exercises. This is somebody who is fit. So don't worry. Don't be bothered and say, oh, am I wasting my money? No, 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 no. You are investing in yourself. And over time, there will be a clear difference between people who invest in themselves, who take time to learn, and people who just stay on the same spot with the same knowledge. So make it a point of duty. I think you already do this. So I don't know if I should even talk much about this. Make it a point of duty to consistently invest in yourself, invest in your learning, invest in your professionalism, identify where you need to build competence. Let me explain that, because when it comes to professional development, some of us just, you know, we attend a lot of programs, which is okay. But you need to have a standard against which you guide yourself and say, okay, where really do I need to? I can learn a lot of things, but where are my gaps? So you do a personal assessment of yourself and say, okay, in class management, in instructional material, in, you know, handling children with special needs, in different areas, in covering the curriculum, in you know, relating, critical thinking, where do I have a gap? Where do I really need to work on? So that even as you are investing in yourself, you are investing in what exactly you need. So you become an all-round, a well-rounded educationalist or educator. Okay, so your professional development must be well-defined and aligned to help you become well-rounded and well-grounded. Lastly, be very ethical as a teacher, as an educator, as a leader. Always ensure that you present a professional front. You act professionally, because there's nothing that stains, you know, that puts palm oil, if you allow me to use that word, on your white as a leader, and put a question mark on your leadership ability than when you become, you know, you act in an unethical manner. So always ensure that whatever you do as a person, you act professionally, no matter how provoked you are, no matter how annoyed you are. Always remember that the school environment is a workplace, is a professional place, and you are a professional. So whether you are talking to a student, you are talking to a parent, you are even doing anything online, you are doing, you know, the extra hours, or you are doing lessons or whatever, always ensure that you have high ethical standards. Again, all these things together make you the most obvious choice for leadership. All right, then the next level of leadership is team leadership. Now, when you have, you know, and all these three go together, they're happening at the same time. It's simultaneous. So it's not as if you have to master one before you move to the next one. But you must be conscious, am I working on myself? Am I working with my team? Am I directing the organization at every point in time? Now, we talk about team leadership. Your class, if you're a teacher, is your team. And it is not you versus the student or you versus the parent. It is you and the student and the parent working together. So have a team mindset in minding your class. Team leadership in education focuses on guiding and supporting groups of individuals, such as the teaching teams. We also see school owners, proprietors, or school leaders who act as though it is them versus the teachers. It is them versus the teaching teams. It is them versus the cleaning department. It is them versus staff groups. It is them versus, there is no versus anything. The school environment must be one of collaboration, where everyone is working together. You are working together with the cleaners. If your class is not clean, you will not be able to enjoy teaching. As a school leader, you are working together with the teachers. If the teachers are not teaching, the quality of learning in your school will go down. So the approach is teamwork. Let's work together. Let's support each other. What does it mean to work together? Let's support each other. You are supporting the students to learn. They are not on their own. As a school leader, you are supporting your teachers to teach. And that is why when they give you feedback, if they say, oh, we need more instructional materials, we need more, you know, whiteboard markers, we need more XYZ, we need more textbooks, we need more internet access, we need more laptop. It is not an antagonistic request. Hello, if you are here, you're a school leader. No, they are not trying to undermine you or anything like that. Everything that they are asking for is to enable them deliver on the outcome that both of you want. So it is a leadership, it's a teamwork thing. So team leadership as a person. Now, if you're working in a team, let's say, you know, you teach year 4 and there are 3 of you in year 4, work together as a team. Find out, how are you handling this topic? How did you handle? Sometimes you need to go to a teacher who has taught a particular topic. How did you handle this topic last year? You know, what did you find challenging with this class? We are taking over a new class. Always feel free to interact and work with people as a team, because you have a common goal, you have a common objective. Don't be a lone ranger. I hope I'm talking to someone. Don't be a lone ranger. Don't think, even if you're a fantastic teacher, you're very good, you understand it, you have mastered it, impact your knowledge to others. Begin to share your knowledge with others. Begin to bring other people up. Begin to mentor others. Remember, we're talking about leadership. And it's not because of the position. They say it's not my position. No. They have not given me the job. Oh, no, they have seen nothing. They have seen no reason why to give you the job or the role. It is when you begin to mentor others, you begin to support others, when you begin to collaborate with others, when you begin to share ideas with others, when you begin to brainstorm with others, when you begin to initiate conversations. You know, there are people that they will always, if they call them for meeting, they always be there, but they can never initiate a conversation. They can never say, can we do this? What do you think we should do? Can we come together? Because those are the hallmarks of a leader. A leader sees a problem and wants to solve it. Some of you, you know, some people, let me not say some of you, but some people will wait for their leader. They say, I'm not the team lead now. When the team lead calls us, no. You can be a leader without having the title of the team lead. You are so essential to the team. When you are not around, they'll call you on the phone and say, please, Oshikemi, we need you back, or we have a problem. Well, let's talk about this. And this happens because you contribute to the team success. So I want to go back to this idea of look at your class as your team. You are like a football coach. Think of a football coach on the field. No football coach goes on the field and says, hey, okay, you are playing. You know, I see teachers who think that because they have 20 students in their class and 17 are doing well. Well, I've tried my best. The other 3 can, I don't know, it's not my fault. Think of a football coach. Will a football coach say, well, my goalkeeper is doing well, I don't care if my strikers are... I mean, would that football coach last? No. Will that team win? No. So it's the same thing. See everybody as a member of your team. And when you do that in your class, have this mindset. You are as strong as your weakest student. You are as strong as your weakest link. If you are the head of a department, you are as strong as your weakest person in that team. If you are the head of a school, that school is as strong as the weakest person. And that is why you can't choose for them to be on their own. You must support them. Leadership is supporting the team to succeed, finding out where they need your support and giving it to them. Because until you strengthen that person, then that is the strength of your team. That is the strength of your class. So it's if you have, you know, students who are very bright and forthcoming, they come to your class, they were first position before they came into your class, and they left your class as still maintaining first position. You know, fantastic, praise God, we thank God. But if somebody comes into your class and they are barely able to do X, Y, Z, and by the time they leave your class, everybody is amazed. That is when you have really displayed exceptionalism as a teacher. It's not when you have rolled them along, you know, just like every other person. All right, let's quickly look at 3 elements of team leadership. Number 1, instructional leadership. Instructional leadership. You know, instructional leadership, of course, occurs also at the school leadership level. So at the school leadership level, it is leading the teaching team to improve instructional practices. As a school leader, if you are VP academics, you are the school proprietor, you are the head of a department, you're a school owner, instructional leadership means that you are leading them in improving the quality of the instructional practices in your school. That means that you cannot be a school leader who sits only in the office and everybody comes and meets you in the office. No. Even if you are the head of a team, you can't just be there in your class and be doing only. You have to go around and ensure that the level of quality of teaching that is happening in your class is happening in all the other classes. Let me move to the second one because of our time. School culture and climate. What is the culture in your school? What is the culture in your class? What is the culture in your class? There are some teachers, when you enter their class is littered, is dirty. The tables are not always well aligned. The students are always talking. Ask yourself, what is the culture in your class? The school can have, you know, a very positive culture, but in your own class, what is the culture? How do they talk to each other? How do they relate? How do they ask questions? You are the one that creates that environment of the school culture. Yes, the school leader creates the culture of the whole school, but there's a culture even in your own class. What is the climate? Do they feel free to ask questions? Are they able to balance being free to ask questions with being respectful? The students in your classroom, do they know when they can walk up to you? Can they ask you questions? Can they engage you? Or are you always threatening and say, don't stop asking me questions, go and sit down, and this? What kind of environment do you create? Because the kind of environment, the climate and the culture in your classroom impacts learning directly. The last one, collaboration and communication. And I mean, I've mentioned this and I can't say it enough. There must be collaboration in your classroom. In some schools, in some classes, the students by themselves, if left to themselves, will create sects. If left to themselves, they will create cliques. If left to themselves, we'll have the people that are smart versus those that are not so smart. People that are rich versus those that are not so rich. They will create their own different kinds of inclusion and exclusion within the classroom, if left to themselves. But that is why they have you. That is why they have you as a team lead. And this can also happen at the school level, where certain teachers don't talk to certain teachers, or they don't get along with certain teachers. It is because you, as a leader, you allow it. Create an environment where anybody can sit with anybody, anybody can work with anybody, anybody can be in a team with anybody in your classroom. Let every student know that there's no segregation here. We are all social person students. We are all in this class. We are all in primary 5A. And we are one family. We work together, we learn together, we share ideas together, we talk together. Everybody is equally valued, equally respected. When you create that environment, especially in the first few weeks, the first 2-3 weeks of resumption, you discover that will be how it will run for the rest of the year. But if you leave them to themselves, to determine the culture, the climate, who collaborates with what, who communicates with what, then you have a fractured class and you find yourself struggling to create some level of cohesion. Lastly, organization leadership, or organizational leadership, leadership at the topmost level. This is the one that a lot of people see and they're very excited about. But if the two previous structures are not there, you will not have an effective organizational leadership. Now, organizational leadership at this level, you are guiding the entire institution. But remember that the entire institution is made up of small teams, small teams. And then these teams are made up of individuals. So to lead everything, some people try to lead from that point. If you're a school owner, you're a school leader, you're trying to lead from just the point of the organization without understanding how the different teams, the different departments work together and how these individuals make up those teams, you will not have an effective leadership. So for you to guide the entire institution, for you to shape its direction, you have to ensure that all the different components are working together harmoniously. That means everybody gets along. The environment, the climate is suitable, everybody is communicating, there is knowledge sharing, there is collaboration within that institution. Once you establish that, directing the organization, there are some other things that you would do, but then it becomes easier. At this level of leadership, it also involves the strategic direction. Where is the school going to? You know, there's a scripture that says, without the vision, people perish. As a school owner, what is the vision? And I'm not talking of the one that is on the board or that is one that is in the pamphlets. The vision goes beyond something that is written down to a picture, an image that is planted in the heart of everybody in that school. What is that vision that you have communicated to them? What is the strategic direction? Even at this time, you know, a lot of things is happening in Nigeria. What is the direction for your school? What is the direction for your team? What is that strategy that you are going to deploy to ensure that you retain your parents, you retain your students? How are you going to manage the entire institution, both internally and, of course, the external stakeholders? Organizational leadership in the school or in education aims to create a cohesive and supportive environment where the school can thrive and deliver high-quality education. How will everything fit together so that at the end of the day, the purpose for which people have brought their children to school is achieved? Let's look at a few elements as I begin to round up. I'm trying to just still manage time because I know it's a bit late. What are the few elements? Number one, instructional leadership. I've talked a bit about this, and that is directing learning, ensuring that the instructional practice in the school are geared towards high quality teaching and learning. And that's a whole training on itself on high quality and learning. Strategic direction, being able to look at what is happening and deciding what direction the school will take. Being able to communicate a clear vision. That's why I put this image there. It's not just saying, it's not an audio thing or a verbal thing. It's being able to make every teacher, every person understand and have a vision of how the school will look like, so that everybody's effort is directed towards achieving the same. How do you manage the resources? We've talked about school climate and culture, so I won't rehash that. How do you manage resources? Even in the classroom, how do you manage resources? A lot of teachers like complaining, oh, we don't have this, we don't have teaching aids, we don't have posters, what are the ones that you can create? What can you do? How can you manage the little resources that you have? How can you create posters? I remember at a time, and this was even quite when things were not like this in Nigeria. There were some topics I wanted to teach in a particular term. And I realized that if the children had the visual of those things that I was going to teach, it will help them to understand it. And I think I was teaching something about all the digestive system and the different systems of the body. And I believe that because of the number of systems that we're going to be teaching, the more pictures I have on my wall, the better it will be for them. Now, we had limited number of the posters in the school. So we saw a particular poster, and there's a particular student that I've heard knows how to draw very well. There was only one poster, and you could only take it, use it for your class, and return it back to the library. But I wanted it on my wall, and I couldn't do that because there was only one. So when I brought it to class, and I asked this boy, I said, can you draw this? They said, you can draw it. I said, you sure? So I went to the school office, and I collected cardboard and pencil and everything. And the boy drew it perfectly well. colored it, labeled it, and we had it on our wall. And then I told the other people, the other teachers, that I have this on my wall, and everybody came and said, wow, this is lovely. Can you draw for us? And then we all had this on our wall, and we got an award for being innovative at the end of that year. So even sometimes we have to think outside of the box. And again, that is a leadership quality. Not always waiting. The school has not provided this. So school has not. I know that the school needs to do what it needs to do, but you also have to show leadership, by effectively managing the resources that are given to you. Let me wrap up with the other two. We have stakeholder engagement. This again is particularly for people who are, school owners, proprietors, proprietresses, principals, vice principals, and things like that. It is important that the school does not run as a silo. You must build strong relationship with all the stakeholders, whether it's from the government officials, the Ministry of Education on one end, and particularly parents on the other end, your host community on the other end. Your relationship with parents mustn't just be about, let them pay me my money, or they should come and pay money. Remember that this is a partnership. You are collaborating with them for the development of their children. That means you are consistently engaging them. A lot of schools, I've seen a lot of schools that I'm like, if this school continues this way, they're going to lose their parents. Who wake up one morning and decide that, hey, we're increasing fees without engaging parents. Yes, you have the right to do that. Oh, we are changing our policies. We are changing our uniforms. We are doing X, Y, Z. No. For you to have excellent organizational leadership or effective organizational leadership, you must engage the stakeholders, those that will pay the fees, those that will buy the uniforms, those that will do the things that you are doing. You must find those that you can sell it to, who will help to sell it to others. Your ability to engage them would impact on how much they will be supportive of your school. Lastly, policy designs and implementation. It is important that, yes, we are working as a team. There must be well-specified policies. Safety policies, educational policies, attendance policies, child molestation policies, first aid policies. Make sure that as a leader, those policies are well defined. And if you're working in a school that has policies, make sure that you understand all the policies in the school. Read the policies and stick with the policies. Policies will protect you against lawsuits, against infractions, and will provide a guideline for your teachers and for your team members to work. So at this point, I'd just like to come to the end of this session. I hope you have learned a little, and I'd like to summarize by saying that educational leadership is a multifaceted process. It starts with the self, it starts with you, it starts with self-leadership, it starts with you managing your team. For a teacher, that starts with your class, and then it starts with other members of your team, and then before you now move to leading the organization. Don't try and lead the whole organization where you have left yourself out or you have left the team out. This combination will create a dynamic and effective educational leadership. Once again, remember that leadership starts with you. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you have enjoyed this session.
Wow. Thank you so much, Mrs. Olusheye. Thank you so much for that impactful session. It was such an interesting session and filled with a lot of things that we need to start implementing as we resume this new session. I want to say thank you in the comment session, in the chat session. Just say thank you to Ms. Olusheye. And if you can, put in one thing that you've learned from her today that you would start working on as we resume school in this new session. Well, thank you so much for that wonderful session. I quickly dropped a link in the chat section. The link is for us to give a feedback. Yes, we have done 2 days, and this is for the second day. We will be giving a certificate of attendance to those of us that feel the feedback, because that is going to help us to know how well we have done and what we need to improve on. And it also shows that you have been participating in this webinar. So we would like every one of us on the call to actually fill that form. It's just a link. Click on the link and then you fill it. And if you register for this webinar, there's a mail that you received. On that mail, there's a link to the WhatsApp page. If you can join the WhatsApp page, the links will also be dropped there so that you can feel it. The feedback is very important to us. So thank you very much, Mr. Oluseye, and of course, Mrs. Gift. If you have questions to answer, to ask, I'm going to give the opportunity for just 5 questions, especially if you have to unmute your mic to speak. You can as well drop your questions also in the chat section. I'll be looking at this the chat section to read out your questions. So are there questions that we want to ask either from the first session or the second session? Please, if you want to unmute your mic, kindly do that by raising your hands, and then I'll allow you to unmute your mic. While we are waiting for that to happen, I don't know, I would like to still call on the founder, Changemakers Group, that's Miss Shola Adiola, at least to give a full vote of thanks to all speakers, both from yesterday and today. Okay, oh, sorry. Okay, I will call Stephen Lawyer. Stephen Lawyer, yes, he is a great educator, doing very well. I know he always calls himself the next Minister for Education. Stephen Lawyer, please, would like you to give a vote of thanks to all our speakers. Stephen Lawyer, please unmute your mic and please give a vote of thanks. Please, you can still drop your questions. I'll be waiting to see your questions. Thank you. Is Stephen there? Stephen, can you unmute? Okay, well, I'm still waiting for Stephen. While we wait, please, can we ask our questions now? If you want to raise your hand, please do that. I would call you to unmute yourself and then ask your question. Or otherwise, you can also put that question in the chat box, either from the first session or the second session. Leadership is influential, not by force. Thank you. I'm reading. But it's been a powerful session. The first session, like we said, talked about our work-life balance, which is very important. For me, the Bring Break is something that I'm going to start implementing, even in the classroom. Yes, I can hear you very well. Thank you,
all right,
Stephen.
sorry. My mic network just went off. Okay, I'm just arriving my environment not quite long. Okay, so let me just quickly say something since you called my name. All right, thank you very much to the organizers for putting this together. I must say that even if I wasn't around yesterday, but from today's session, I can clearly say that it wasn't just enriching, but it's impactful. And I think that as educators, it is important that from time to time we invest in personal development. It is very important. I was just discussing with someone earlier today. What I commit, can you hear me? What I commit to personal development, self-development is quite very, very high. Okay, and just this summer alone, I've had the privilege of learning so much from different books just because I want to improve my outcome as an educator. So this kind of avenue is always a platform for educators to learn. And I also want to say that as educators, we don't have to wait for a proper education event, okay, before we start learning. You can learn from different platforms and different programs. It allows you to expand your knowledge set such a way that you know beyond what you do in the classroom. And at the same time, I used to say something: if they take away your subject from me as a teacher, what else would be left? So it goes to say that beyond what you know how to teach, your math, your English, and all that, you should learn. So I want to say thank you to today's speaker for really deliberating and sharing so much about leadership and at different level in school. I think it's something that has become a very, very but recurrent in schools about leadership among teachers, among different staff, and I think that she really hits the nail on the head. That leadership starts from self. So I want to say thank you to our that have joined the program since yesterday. Thank you so much on behalf of the Changemakers community for coming, for sharing your ideas, your thoughts, your experience with other educators. I really appreciate you. And we believe that with knowledge you've shared so far is going to inspire us to move forward and to push further and to also create better outcomes and to also ensure that with what we've learned, it won't just only affect our classroom, but it also impact our nation because we're also grooming young people who become leaders in the nation of tomorrow. So thank you very much, all our speakers. Thank you so much to everyone who has attended the session as well. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you so much. It seems the speakers did a very great job by explaining and giving us clear explanation of their thoughts, because I'm not seeing any question. That means we don't have any questions. So I want to also appreciate everyone that I joined yesterday and today for taking this time out to actually come and learn. The only way we can reward every speaker that has poured out their heart, because yes, this is free, but nothing is actually free. They paid with their time, they paid with their time of preparation and all of that. So please, the way we can reward them is not just to be hearers, but let's go out here and begin to take action on the things that we have learned. Attending is not just enough. One of the things that Mrs. Olusheye mentioned about is let's go out and share what we know. Don't keep it to yourself. Share what you know. Share what you know to others in your community, in your school. Share it to teachers that were not here. Share it on your social media page. We will appreciate that. Share that, oh, you learned this at the Changemakers webinar. Please share it at Leadership Impact. You learned this. It's a way of showing your leadership quality as well. So thank you very much for everyone that have joined the 2 days. Thank you so much for all our speakers, Mrs. Yemisi Ogunlade, Mr. Itayo Rotimi, Mrs. Olusheye Igbafe, and Mrs. Gift Godfrey. You have all done a great job of making us better educators, and we will promise you that we will not just listen, but we are going out there to take action on the things that we have learned. I will not end without thanking the founder, the person that have been able to bring all of us together, and the person of Mrs. Shola Adeola. Please, in the comment section, can we celebrate her with your emojis, with your words? Let's celebrate Miss Shola Adeola for bringing this together. She is the founder of Changemakers. Please, let's appreciate her. Thank you so much for all you do. Thank you for balancing your work and life. I see you enjoy your life. I see you dance around, yet you're doing so much at the same time. We love you. We appreciate you. And if you are not a member of Changemakers group, please, it is a group that is open to all. Join, and don't just join. Please come in and share. That is one of the ways you can show your leadership prowess as well. Come in, share. It's a place where we welcome everyone. We welcome everyone sharing. We know everyone has a voice, and we want you to lend your voice in that community. If there is no question, I think we would start rounding now right now. Don't forget, the feedback link is very important. If you don't fill it, we will not be under any obligation to send you a certificate of attendance. But when you fill it, you can be sure you will get that. And it's also adding to your professional development. Thank you so much, everyone. Miss Shola, any other thing? If there are no other things, then we can be saying goodbyes. Thank you so much for joining. See you again. Don't forget, we have another session. We have another one coming up in December. It's something you should look out for and expect something even greater from this. Thank you so much. it's bye from me. I'm Omotesho Afolabi, and I've been your moderator for today. Thank you, and have a very good night rest.
Thank you so much, Mr. Folabi. Thank you, Mrs. Igbafe. Thank you, Mrs. Gibbs. Godfrey, thank you everyone for joining tonight. Love you all. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Folabi.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir. Please, can I have the recordings? Because at some point I went off because I had a visitor and then I joined back afterwards. So I don't know if I can get a record.
I can assure
then-
you it's going to be on YouTube.
Okay.
Later you would find it on YouTube. We would.
Okay.
Are you on the group? If you're on the group, you'll get the link. So if you're not on the group, please join. If you registered for this webinar, you will
I am.
in your okay. So you'll find the link. So you
All
always
right,
get
sir.
it.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's
Thank you,
bye
everyone. Yeah.
Gladys,
Hello,
thank
Miss Maria.
Yeah. Onyi Toyato. Thank
Hi,
you.
baby. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Shola. God bless
you.
you.
Thank you, Ma'am Shola. Thank you, sir.
Gladys.
Thank you, Miss Gladys.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Miss Gladys.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. We really appreciate. Thank you so much.